Hey, hope everybody's having a good day today. I'm going to read our next Ramadan story uh, today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about somebody's personal experiences for Ramadan. This book is written by Reem Farouki, I believe is the author's name, and it is reminiscent of a story that she told when she was a child. So this is kind of her retelling of that story. So what we're going to learn today is we're reading a book called Lailah's Lunchbox. Our objective is we will discover how Lailah teaches others about Ramadan, so how she teaches her classmates and those around her at school about her tradition. Our vocabulary is Ramadan, which we learned about in our last read aloud. Eid al-Fitr, as well, we learned about fasting, and Sirhi, I believe is how you pronounce it, and Iftar. So those are our keywords, our vocabulary for today. While we're reading, I want you to think about, have you ever fasted, or do you have a friend who fasts during Ramadan, or maybe even another time of the year, during another time of the year? So think about that as we're reading. And at the end, I'm going to ask you to answer a question for me. And the question is, why do you think it was hard for Lailah to tell her teachers and classmates that she was fasting for Ramadan? Okay, so keep those things in mind as we're reading. As usual, I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller here so that we've got room for all of the the book pages. All right, so this is a book, Lailah's Lunchbox, a Ramadan story. Okay, I'm excited to read this for you. "We won't be needing this for a while," said Lailah's mother, hanging up Lailah's lunchbox. "Imagine, I won't be eating lunch for a month," replied Lailah with a twirl. "I won't have to pack lunch for a month," said her mom with a bigger twirl. The year before, Lailah had wanted to fast with her best friends, Hind and Ishrat, during Ramadan, but Lailah's mom had insisted that she was too small. Remembering that, Lailah stopped twirling. She missed her friends. Wonder where her friends are at now. Moving from one continent to another had been hard. On the map in her atlas, North America and the Middle East were only 10 inches apart, but in real life she was so much farther away. She wished she was only 10 inches away from Hind and Ishrat. She knew the sign by the highway said Peachtree City, you'll love to call it home, but she didn't agree with the sign. Abu Dhabi still felt like her home. So it sounds like Lailah moved from Abu Dhabi to Peachtree City, but that Hind and her friend Ishrat are still living in the Middle East in Abu Dhabi. The next morning before sunrise, Lailah's mom gently nudged her. "Lailah," she whispered, "Sehri time." Lailah chomped on her chocolate chip pancakes with her closed eyes. "Delicious," she said. "Come, let's pray now," said her mom. After Sehri, Lailah snuggled back into her bed until Mom woke her up again. This time for school. As she left the house, Mom handed her a note. "Lailah, please give this to Mrs. Penworth." Without her lunchbox to carry, her fingers felt extra free and swingy. She felt so light, she skipped to the school bus stop. On the school bus, she read her mom's note. "Dear Mrs. Penworth, this is Lailah's first time fasting for the month of Ramadan, so it is an exciting time for us. Please excuse Lailah from lunch for this special month. Thanks, Miss Malik." Lailah didn't feel so bouncy anymore. What if Miss Penworth didn't know about Ramadan? No one else would be fasting with her. She folded the note into a teeny tiny square and hid it in her book bag. Lailah walked slowly to her class. Her throat felt dry all morning. When lunchtime arrived, she still hadn't given Miss Penworth her note. "Lailah, did you forget your lunch?" asked Miss Penworth. Lailah opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Samantha volunteered. "I'll share my lunch with Lailah." Miss Penworth shook her head. "Thank you for the offer, Samantha, but Lailah, please go get a sandwich from the cafeteria." Lailah followed her classmates to the cafeteria. "Lailah, do you want some of my cream roll?" asked Anna. Lailah thought of telling Anna that she was fasting, but she didn't think anyone at Sunnyvale Elementary School knew about Ramadan. "No thanks," she started to say. "I didn't bring my—" "Are you sure?" asked Anna, unwrapping her cream rolls. Lailah watched the cream roll get smaller and smaller, and she didn't feel so sure. Cream rolls were her favorite. She looked away, but her nose still smelled the food. Lailah wished she had given Miss Penworth the note. Even Isaiah's bologna sandwich looked tasty, and Lailah didn't even like bologna. Her stomach rumbled. Suddenly, she had an idea. While everyone was busy eating, she sneaked out of the cafeteria. Her stomach stopped growling. I wonder where she was going. "Why, Lailah, it's a pleasure to see you. What brings you here at lunchtime?" asked Miss Carman, the librarian. Lailah felt safe among all of the books. She opened her mouth, and this time her words tumbled out. Lailah told Miss Carman that Miss Penworth and her classmates didn't know she was fasting. She told her how she missed Hend and Ishrat. It felt good to tell someone all the words that had been inside her mind all morning, and especially to tell her about Ramadan. Miss Carman understood. "You must feel special to fast this Ramadan," said the librarian with a smile. "I do," said Lailah, "but why is it so hard to explain?" "You know, what I always do when I can't get my thoughts out, or when I get shy about talking," asked Miss Carman, "I write my thoughts down." That's a good idea. Lailah got to work. She wrote neatly, adding extra loops to her capital L. She worked so hard her cheeks turned pink. Here's the letter. "Dear Miss Penworth, I didn't forget my lunchbox today. It's Ramadan. My mom finally let me fast. This means I won't be eating lunch for a month. Sincerely, Lailah. P.S. I'm Muslim. P.P.S. My mom wrote you a note too. Here it is. P.P.P.S. Here's a poem I wrote about Ramadan." And the poem that Lailah wrote is, "Ramadan is a month Muslims celebrate, a time to count our blessings and appreciate. Muslims fast before sunrise to sunset, but wait, that's not all just yet. Ramadan is a time for lots of prayer. We help the poor people to show we care. So in the day I won't be eating my food, but hopefully I will stay in a good mood." Lailah hurried back to the cafeteria to join her class. Before school was out, she quietly dropped both notes onto Miss Penworth's desk. The next morning, Lailah swung her fingers as she waited for the school bus. Would Miss Penworth like her poem? Lailah hoped. Miss Penworth wouldn't think she had forgotten her lunchbox again. She slowly climbed each step on the school bus. In class, Miss Penworth didn't say anything, so Lailah wondered what had happened. At times like this, she wished Hend and Ishrat were with her. They would know what to say. Do you think that Miss Penworth read her note? I wonder. At lunchtime, Lailah's feet felt heavy. She was sure Miss Penworth hadn't seen the notes. Everyone would think that she had forgotten her lunchbox again. As she was leaving class, Miss Penworth patted Lailah on the back and handed her a message. Miss Penworth had made her a capital L in Lailah's name extra loopy. Dear Lailah, I enjoyed your lovely poem about Ramadan. I'm impressed you're fasting. What a special time for you. You and your family must be thrilled. Would you share your poem with the class today after lunch? And you can go to the library this month instead of the cafeteria. Miss Carmen is excited to see you. Sincerely, Miss Penworth. P.S. Miss Carmen told me you missed your friends. I hope you keep making new friends with our class. Lailah twirled all the way to the library. She couldn't wait to share her Ramadan poem with her class. Later, at iftar, she would celebrate this day. What a great story. That was a really nice story telling about the experience of one student, Lailah, and how she experiences Ramadan in school. So perhaps some of you have been in a similar situation and you can relate or connect. You can make a connection to Lailah's story. Maybe for some of those of you who don't know much about the Muslims or their culture or traditions or Ramadan, this gave you a little bit better idea of how Ramadan is celebrated and its significance and what it means to Muslim families. Okay, I'm going to read you an author's note, and at the end of this, I'm going to ask you to answer a question for me. Okay, author's note. So the author is the person who wrote the book, and she is writing a note to us. As a child, I remember growing up in Abu Dhabi, wishing I could fast with my best friends, Hind and Ishrat, but my mother thought I was too small to fast. When I finally was allowed to fast, I missed their company. Like Lailah, my family moved to Peachtree City, Georgia, all the way from Abu Dhabi, the capital of the United Arab Emirates. During Ramadan, I found it challenging to explain to my non-Muslim friends why I was not eating lunch with them. The library became my safe space away from all the fragrant food smells, and I spent many hours there enjoying good books. I hope we all have the courage, like Lailah, to explain and celebrate our beliefs. Contrary to what some may think, Ramadan is not all about food. It's about growing up and finally being able to fast. It's also about cherishing the family with whom you sit down every night at sunset to open your fast. It's about praying with the community and sharing with those in need. It's about inviting friends over for iftar and sending food to your neighbors. Lailah's poem is adapted from a note we used to stick on my food my mother would send to our neighbors during Ramadan. It's a special month to celebrate each year. I look forward to it, with or without cream rolls. Ramadan Mubarak. Have a blessed Ramadan. And then those two new words that we learned, Sehri and Iftar. Sehri is a meal that Muslims eat before sunrise during Ramadan to start their daily fast. So this is before the sun comes up in the morning. Iftar is a meal Muslims eat after sunset during Ramadan to open the day's fast. So that is after the sun goes down at night. Okay? So during that period between the early morning and when the sun goes down is the fasting time when you don't eat for the day. All right. Really loved that story. So our question today, which I asked earlier, and you're going to come back to it, is, the question is, why do you think it was hard for Lailah to tell her teacher and classmates that she was fasting for Ramadan? Why do you think it was hard for Lailah to tell her teachers and classmates that she was fasting for Ramadan? Okay. All right, so go ahead and leave me a reply. I hope you enjoyed the 2 Ramadan stories this week. And if you're celebrating, good luck on your fast and celebrating your traditions. And if you don't celebrate, I hope you learn something new about other cultures and other religions and have a new respect for people that are fasting during this time. All right. Take care. Have a good day.